Hi, welcome to Makeup and Mess Ups. If you're new here, my name is Emma Envy, and basically I talk about YouTube drama or stories from my past while doing my makeup. Now, some of the stories from my past include mental health, drug addiction, and recovery, and it proves that recovery is possible. Now, if you're thinking that sounds really dark, don't worry, I do it in a fun, light-hearted way. And addiction really, recovery is really possible if you put your mind to it. And most of the time, the stories I tell are funny as hell. So if this sounds something that's up your alley, then hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification button so you never miss a story. And yeah, I'll see you there. Hi guys, I just wanted to put a trigger warning on this Makeup and Mess Up episode because it talks about partner abuse, it talks about drug abuse and addiction, and it also talks about a house being raided. So I just wanted to warn you, a trigger warning, before you watch it. And I will put an age restriction on it. Thank you. Hi guys, since I already did the trigger warning and everything, I figured that we could jump right into it and talk about my husband, who the cops can't even find to help me divorce them unless I pay, I think it's like $400 or $200. As like a spouse you can't find, but I ain't got that kind of money. Maybe I should make a GoFundMe. Not that those have ever worked out in the past. But basically, my grandma, when I was 16, introduced me to this man. And because and I lived with my grandpa too. My mom left me when I was like 10 to marry some felon who, right after they got married, went to prison in Virginia. So, good choice, Mom. Not gonna say names other than Grandma, Mom, stuff like that. And we're gonna call my husband Juice. Not really that hard to figure out what his real name is, but we're gonna go with Juice. And there is no more. There it is. So yeah, he had a good job, and they literally, when I was 16, decided to sell the trailer that we lived in, and they moved to another apartment. And when the lady came in to see it, I did everything in my power. I put a hole in my wall to try to get her not to want this trailer, because I knew, and I was on juvenile probation at the time, house arrest, that, they were kicking me out at 16. My birthday was in a couple months. So, wait, no, that was my 16th birthday. So, they were like, oh, well, you can move in with Juice and his friend Juice. Yeah, they're both named Josh. Juice. So, yeah. And then, they gave me furniture and whatever, and it seemed to be going alright for a little while. And she even lied and told, since I didn't have a house arrest monitor, that I was living with her. My grandpa helped me out with my community service. And then the other Jews decided to date my sister, which I warned him that she will suck you dry. I also don't talk to her anymore. And he didn't listen, so they had a one night thing, and then he bought her a $1,200 necklace for Christmas, and she dumped him on Christmas, kept the necklace. What a hoe. Anyway, so that caused the falling out at that apartment, well, we were in a 2-year lease, and there was no way we could afford that place without, someone else there. So my grandparents gave, I had already moved back in because once me and my sister Juice got in a fight, I obviously took her side because I'm her sister, even though I think she was in the wrong. And they made a deal behind my back with my Josh, who I had already expressed I did not want to be with anymore. And so their deal was that he made $500, and some change every 2 weeks. Well, they took it all. And they would make him, beg for gas, for anything. And then one day my grandpa comes up to me and says, how much am I Vicodin worth? Because look how many bottles I have. And he had bottles on bottles on bottles just filled with not only just Vicodin, 5s, he also had Percocet, fentanyl patches, and he would have me sell them for him. And then when Josh would ask for money to get to and from work, it was begging. And then they were like, well, why don't you have any money? Bitch, you're taking it all. And I had told them that he was, at this point I just admitted to the mentally abusiveness. And I begged them to get rid of him, and they did not because they're money hungry. And no, despite what Trisha Paytas might say, allegedly, they were not Jewish. They were not all about money, as since that's what she likes to put out there. My real last name actually means Friday in German, my maiden name, and I always thought that was the coolest thing. But anyway, back to the story. So when we finally decided enough was enough and we were going to keep one of the 2 checks, we were kicked out. And not only that, we didn't get kicked out right away. We got told never to do it again. So then when I was selling those for him, he wouldn't even offer me gas money. So one time I decided, well, fuck it. I had a baby at that time, and I said, well, I need diapers, I need this, I need that. I'm going to replace his Vicodin with some Tylenol that kind of looks the same. I mean, he's not taking them anyway. What's the big deal? And I'll just tell him that the person never showed up. Well, I did that once, and it worked for a while, but then my pharmacist, I think she's my aunt, no, a cousin, came down, and my grandma was like, these pills just don't seem to be working anymore, and she said, well, Betty, that's because it's Tylenol. Busted, big time. So yeah, I immediately packed up my son and we dipped. And I did not have a stable place to go, so on the 15th of December, I asked her if she would take my son just temporarily until I got on my feet. So what does this bitch do? She files for full custody and tells them I'm on drugs. Now, me not trying to get a 56, 57, I don't know how old she was, she's probably 60-year-old woman in trouble, I didn't bring up what she was doing, and I didn't want to get in trouble for it either. I mean, I was technically the one selling them, but she was the one making it seem like that was the norm, you know what I mean? In my household, that was the norm. I remember one time, they didn't like one of my boyfriends, and this is right before they introduced me to Juice, and my grandpa had me, He said he was teaching me to drive. He had me drive by his house. He pulled out his gun, which was a stolen gun, and he can't have a gun anyway because he's on disability. Pointed it at him and went poof, poof, as if next time I'm going to kill you. Yeah, so I don't come from like a stable family. So telling them that he was beating the shit out of me, it meant nothing. Yeah. So we moved into one of his friend's houses, and his friend's house was named Wayne. And that was the first time I had tried Suboxone. And then we moved in. He had like a lot of people living with him, so we would go back and forth. But then we met this woman named Layla. That's what I'm gonna call her. And she would always take my side when we would go visit my son at my grandma's and tell them how good I was doing and like how unfair it was what they were doing. And it just made me feel like she was sticking up for me in a way. And she would always tell me like, we're gonna run away, we're gonna go to New York, which is where she's from, and we're gonna take Paul, her son, and we're gonna take my son, and we are gonna get the fuck out of here because I love you, and blah 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 blah. But she was running this game not only on me, but on my husband, on her boyfriend Michelle, because that's what we're gonna call him. And really all it was her looking for people to be, I don't know how else to say it, the fall guy if her house ever got raided. Because she knew that there were certain people that would stand up and say, oh, she had nothing to do with it, Mike was abusive, you know, she tried to get them to leave the house, he wouldn't do it. And yeah, anytime that we were in the car, if we got pulled over, she would hand everything to me, and I was either supposed to stuff it or, you know, just claim it was all mine. One time she handed me a purse with all her fake IDs in it, with pictures of her on it. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to explain those are mine? Regardless. So, yeah. That's basically the story of the meth house. Now, there are a lot of funny stories that go into this, like Michelle putting fishing wire on empty pop cans so that he could hear if someone was walking around our house. We also had two houses. One was more of a stash house per se, and our cover was his family was living there from California. So yeah, and I mean, we had tons of cars. Things were going really good for living in a hick-ass town, because we really did. We didn't live like deep in the city, so I guess it was kind of like a untapped market. If you didn't want to go down to the city, you could always go here. Ooh, and there was this guy, and his name was Skull Dog. Now, talk about a weirdo. He would invite Mike over and get him really messed up, and then he would just go to his second story bedroom and watch him hide in a toddler's playhouse. And I'm not even kidding you. He would take blankets and get inside of it, and it was the funniest thing. But that guy was weird. He was probably like 90, and I remember one time he got burned all over his body. It was crazy. Oh, and so did my husband. Not the Michelle you're thinking of. I'm just gonna call him Mike. Juice. I get confused with all these names. Okay, so Juice. One time there was a fire in our house, and everyone's just kind of standing around panicking. So the kitchen is right next to the living room, and there is Layla's daughter sleeping there. So I'm like, hey, wake up, there's a fire. And she replies, is it on the roof yet? And I said, no. And she said, well, then don't wake me up again unless it's on the roof and gonna hurt me. And I was just like, damn, how many fires have you been in? Like, you're 17? I don't know, it's just crazy. And so, out of, all the brilliant people there, my husband decides to pick up the pot, which is the right thing to do, and it's snowing outside, so all he had to do is carefully set it in there. But no, he goes, and his whole hand, you could see his whole hand. So, Leela's solution, because you can't go to the hospital and say, hey, I was making meth and, shit went wrong. She decides to take him down to the city and get the entire house hooked on heroin. So now, not only were we making meth, but we were selling it for heroin. And then, this story goes on and on and on. We met a guy named Louisiana. That was his name. Well, actually, I'm pretty sure he had a real name, but we just called him Louisiana. Ooh, and the first time that we tried to make, not just shake and bake, we almost blew up our house. That was pretty funny, too. But, yeah, for more stories like these, I guess just stay tuned, because this is Makeup and Mess Ups number 4. And so I guess now we should talk about some celebrity gossip. So I turned on the spooky special with Lizzie and Ryland and Shane, and they are talking about suicide notes. And unfortunately, even I have wrote one. When my 2 kids had to be placed up for adoption, luckily my cousin got them, there was this agreement that every 3 months I would get updates, pictures, and then to their discretion, maybe getting to see them. And before I had Penny, literally, I was in the hospital, the mental health ward, and I had made my phone calls and said goodbye to my family. They didn't know that's what I was saying, and yes, I smoke. But I had said goodbye to everyone. I was getting out on the day that I got my disability check, and I was gonna go downtown, buy a bunch of heroin, and kill myself. And a couple days before they released me, the doctor calls me into the room and she goes, Emma, you're pregnant. And I stopped everything. I stopped, with her help, my mental health medication except my Seroquel, and she said that would not harm her, and I stopped all the drugs, and she literally changed my life. I haven't touched them since. When I did have my C-section, and I had warned them that I was an ex-addict, they prescribed me 4 Perk 5s a day for 3 months. And on the 3rd month, my pharmacy wasn't open, so it wasn't like I could call and have it switched to another pharmacy, and I felt sick as shit, and I knew I was getting addicted again. So that Monday, I went to a recovery center called Brightview. I already was attending a mental health place, and I got the help I needed. So if you are struggling, get help. It might seem embarrassing, but there are so many of us, and they really will help you. Now, back to the rest of that podcast so I can talk shit. And Lizzie just made an excellent point. You do not want to wake up one day and feel some type of way and want to do that and not think about all of the amazing times you have in life. Yeah, sometimes life is shitty and, you know, it only lasts a moment. I'll say 98% of life is joy. Even if it's little things. Even if it's like, oh, today, you know, the sun's out and I can go swimming. That was when I lived in Florida. But, I mean, Penny said her first word. I mean, there are so many beautiful, great things in life. And when you do decide to take your life, you're not only affecting yourself, you're affecting those around you that love you. So you need to reach out, even if it's just to a helpline, even if you're too embarrassed to talk to your friends about it. You can Google. I mean, there are tons of helplines. I will leave one down in the description, but don't do it. It's not worth it. And now back to me watching the podcast and seeing what I can talk about. Another thing I think about a lot too is when I was going through the abuse and I was being physically abused. And it seemed like the police weren't doing anything. They actually, the first time that I reported it, they let him leave the courthouse first. And I begged them not to because I knew he would be waiting for me to punish me for telling on him. And I was right. And luckily for me, there was a police officer walking into the courthouse that saw everything and took him back into jail. And if it wasn't for him, I honestly believe that he would have killed me. And at that moment, I kind of wish he would have. But now, looking at everything that I have, everything in my life that is just so beautiful and, you know, so loving, and Penny and just the way she is, and even Mike, who I take for granted sometimes. I am such a lucky, blessed person to have come from homeless, sleeping in a tent in October, November, 2 days before Thanksgiving, to, you know, now having a house, stability? I almost said, doesn't matter. Anyway, stability, and yeah, we argue, we fight, just like any other normal couple, but if I would have done that, I would have regretted it immediately, and I feel like a lot of people are like that. They think that that's what they need to do, and then the second, like, let's say, I made a noose. So let's say that, you know, you hook that noose up, and then as soon as the chair leaves your feet, you regret it. And so just get help. And I think that this video so far, the spooky Ryland and Shane podcast, is a really good one for mental health help. Oh my god, and I just realized I forgot to tell you guys that I don't know if I forgot, but I'm telling you again, H3H3 got their strike removed. We did it. We bullied YouTube into realizing that they were wrong, and yeah, so I'm super pumped about that. And yes, today is Christmas and my daughter's up, so I'm trying to do a real quick look and, you know, for pictures. and then get the fuck out of here and spend some time with my daughter. Now, here is my issue. I have this red and this red. And I think I'm gonna do this one. I don't know. It just seems like every time I do a red, I look crazy. Hold on. Okay. Don't worry, I have clothes underneath. It's just getting super freaking hot in here. Anyway, so I don't know if you guys know this, but I use the Too Faced Lip Injection Extreme. Now, I heard that there's another one out, and I really want to try it. But I always like blot it off because if I try to use any sort of like pen, lip pencil, oh my god, do I not have a red. Holy moly. So, am I just gonna have to wing this? Or... yeah, because that's like a crimson, so I guess I'm just not gonna line my lips, which is good, because sometimes I look like bozo. So, first we're gonna try this one, and then if I don't like it, we're gonna try this one. And I'll just wipe it off. I don't know, I'm not really mad about it. Oh no. There we go. Oh my god. I could put the brighter in the middle. And I think that would look bomb. But what if it doesn't? What if it ruins it? I don't know what to do. Do you guys like it? I think I need, like, hold on. I just want you to know that the peach eyeshadow palette and the nude from, I think it was the dollar store, were actually like some of the most pigmented, like best ones I ever had, and I used literally all of them. So we're gonna go in with this in the middle and just see what it looks like. Oh yeah. Okay, 1 second, but tell me I don't look like a Christmas gift. Oh my god, I love it! Alright, so for my hair today, oh, and I need a necklace. So I think we're gonna do my peanut necklace. If I can get it to get off here. Because the other necklace I have, oh my god, are they like, they're tangled. I have a Minnie Mouse for Penny when she's older. There's no way this is tangled. I'm gonna be so sad. Oh my god. I just realized something. The Mickey Mouse one is apparently broken. Maybe it's not broken. Maybe it's just the way... Give me 1 second. I just want to tell you right now, if I did not have this curly merbobber thing, that there is no way that my hair would ever even slightly be curled. This hair over here actually all goes over there. So, I mean, I'm a mess. And I'm not good at this. And I really do try. And I'm just not good at it. And I am so jealous of my 2-year-old's hair. She has naturally curly ends. And like, she kind of has a bowl cut right now. But that's just because I'm not ready to take her to get her hair cut to get bangs. I'm just not ready. So I've been doing this cute little thing where I put a hair tie right here. And then it's a bunch of hair just sticking up. And then, I see that doesn't look that bad. And then, yeah, so that's basically what I have to go do to her hair after I'm done with this mess. So I will take pictures when I'm done. Guys, this is the finished look, and now I'm gonna go celebrate Christmas with my family. I'm wearing my pajamas and my Penelope necklace, and my lips turned out pretty great. And my hair, not so much, but I tried to curl it, so that's what counts. And I will see you guys later. Merry Christmas. Okay guys, so Penny opened all of her gifts, and she is one happy camper now that her dad got all of them assembled. Yet she pulled apart the Mickey Mouse train set, but I figured that that's par for the course. Yeah, so I got hot, so I changed. And I also added a little bit of like, what is it called? Hold on, let me look. It is Miracle Curls by Ozzy. Just to try to like keep them, you know, plump. But anyway, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and happy holidays.